Ellen said, and I'm quoting, "I don't know, Rosie. We're not friends," with Ellen, and he said, "Whatever happened to Rosie O'Donnell? Her show went down the tubes. She came out as a lesbian and disappeared." And Ellen said, and I'm quoting, "I don't know, Rosie. We're not friends."
Remember when Rosie O'Donnell tried to warn everybody years ago? Turns out she was right the whole time. Katt Williams just dropped a brand new bombshell on Ellen DeGeneres that nobody saw coming. Let's get right into it.
But no, it's been this conversation since '95.
For years, Katt Williams built his entire career around one thing, saying what other people in Hollywood were too afraid to say. While most celebrities carefully protect relationships, avoid controversy, and smile for the cameras, Katt went in the opposite direction. He called people out by name. He questioned how certain stars became famous so quickly. He talked about secret industry politics, fake friendships, hidden scandals, and what he believed was a system designed to reward obedience while punishing anyone who refused to play along. And for a long time, many people laughed him off. Some called him bitter, others called him crazy. Hollywood insiders painted him as difficult, but then something strange started happening. Years later, many of the things Katt had hinted at began to appear in headlines. Suddenly, old interviews with people once ignored started going viral again.
It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, T.G. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
This was the moment that truly changed everything. His explosive interview on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharpe. What was supposed to be a normal podcast turned into one of the most talked about celebrity interviews in years. Millions of people watched Katt sit there calmly exposing stories, naming names, and describing Hollywood as a giant machine built on control, manipulation, and gatekeeping. According to Katt, success in entertainment is not always about talent. Sometimes, he claimed, it is about connections, alliances, and knowing the right people behind closed doors. And one name that keeps coming up when he talks about fake smiles and Hollywood masks: Ellen DeGeneres. See, for nearly 2 decades, Ellen built her entire brand on 2 words: be kind. She said it every single day, at the end of every single show, for 19 seasons. America loved her. The dancing, the laughs, the giveaways. She was America's sweetheart. But then, the cracks started showing. And Katt Williams? He was one of the first people to point at those cracks and say, "Yeah, I told you so." He called it the mask slipping. The idea that what you see on that brightly lit stage is just a character, a performance, and the real person behind the curtain is something completely different. Former staff members, writers, producers, and people who actually worked on that show started coming out to describe their experiences. Words like difficult, words like monsters, and suddenly the be kind queen didn't seem so kind after all. Now here is where it gets interesting, because the internet took Katt's reputation for speaking uncomfortable truths and ran wild with it.
I can't harbor any resentment to any of these entities because I can't be jealous. I've never seen them have anything that I ever wanted.
For someone who said this, everyone took it seriously. We're talking about viral videos claiming he exposed Ellen for connections to names like Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein. Dark industry rumors, conspiracy theories about cults, sacrifices, and Hollywood's secret underbelly, all with Katt Williams' name stamped on the thumbnail, and a lot of those claims are unverified. What is verified is that Katt Williams has a history of saying things people aren't ready to hear, and eventually being proven right. His Club Shay Shay interview alone broke the internet. The real question isn't just about Ellen, it's about something bigger. How much of what we see from our favorite celebrities is real? And are we only comfortable asking that question after the mask has already fallen off? And Ellen isn't the only name Katt Williams has been mentioning.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television?
Another of his biggest targets over the years is Kevin Hart. Katt repeatedly suggested that Kevin's rise to superstardom happened too fast and too perfectly to be natural. He accused Hollywood executives of pushing Kevin into massive movie roles, commercials, and global fame, while other comedians who spent decades grinding in comedy clubs were ignored. To Katt, Kevin Hart represented something bigger than one person. He represented what Katt believed was a carefully managed system where certain entertainers are selected, protected, and promoted by powerful industry people. And the scary part for fans was not just the accusation itself, it was how confident Katt sounded while making it. He spoke like someone who had seen the inside of the system, but Katt's criticism went far beyond comedy. Over the years, he constantly talked about what he saw as Hollywood rituals and humiliating industry practices. One topic he returned to many times was the idea of black male comedians being pressured to wear dresses in movies and on television. Katt argued that it was not a random comedy. He believed it was symbolic humiliation disguised as entertainment. Whether people agreed with him or not, his comments sparked endless debate online. Fans began revisiting old movie scenes featuring famous comedians wearing dresses and started asking questions they had never asked before. Were those scenes harmless jokes, or was there really pressure behind the scenes? That became the pattern with Katt Williams. He planted seeds of doubt that stayed in people's minds long after the interview ended. Then there were his comments about powerful Hollywood figures.
Why would he get blackballed?
Yeah,
Oh,
that.
because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing...
You will tell it.
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that, I value that, I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it. Why? Because you don't make me the villain.
Long before the public downfall of Harvey Weinstein, Katt hinted at dark behavior happening behind closed doors in the entertainment industry. He talked about abuse of power, manipulation, and the fear many entertainers felt about speaking publicly. At the time, some people dismissed him. Then years later, scandal after scandal began exploding across Hollywood. Suddenly, audiences started replaying old Katt Williams interviews with completely different eyes. Even his long-running accusations about joke stealing became part of a bigger narrative. Katt openly accused Cedric the Entertainer of stealing material from him, but to Katt, it was not just about one stolen joke. He framed it as proof that Hollywood protected certain comedians while pushing others aside. In his mind, there was an inner circle, and if you were outside of it, you paid the price. That outsider identity became central to Katt's brand. Unlike many celebrities who proudly brag about studios and corporate partnerships, Katt often presents himself as independent. He talks about funding his own projects, owning his material, and avoiding Hollywood control as much as possible. That independence became one of the reasons many fans trusted him. Even people who did not fully believe every claim still respected the fact that he seemed willing to risk his career just to speak openly. But then something happened in 2026 that nobody expected.
Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Katt.
I'm surprised they invited me. That's how little star power you have. They had to start inviting your enemies. I said, I hate him. They said, come anyway.
After years of public tension, insults, and rivalry, Katt Williams and Kevin Hart finally stood face to face during the roast of Kevin Hart. The feud that once symbolized everything wrong with Hollywood suddenly appeared to end with a handshake and a hug. For many fans, it was shocking. Some saw it as maturity. Others believed it was strategic. A few even wondered whether Hollywood itself pushed for peace between two of comedy's biggest names. Either way, the moment became symbolic. Two men who once represented opposite sides of the industry suddenly buried the hatchet in public. But while Katt softened his stance toward Kevin, his larger criticism of Hollywood never really disappeared. At the same time, Katt was exposing what he believed were hidden truths in entertainment. Another famous voice had spent decades criticizing Hollywood in her own way, Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, we are a big Bananagram family.
Excuse me?
Bananagram, great game, like Scrabble tiles. You have to put together your own crossword. When you hit it, you say peel, then you have to take more tiles, and you have to beat your kids and make them feel inferior.
Rosie's approach was different from Katt's. She was less focused on conspiracy-like industry systems and more focused on authenticity, hypocrisy, discrimination, and toxic behavior. For years, Rosie openly challenged powerful people in entertainment. She criticized the unrealistic images celebrities sell to the public and argued that Hollywood often rewards fake perfection while hiding very real personal problems underneath. According to Rosie, the industry creates polished versions of human beings instead of allowing people to be messy, honest, and real. That criticism became especially important in the age of social media, where celebrity brands became more carefully controlled than ever before. Rosie also spoke openly about discrimination inside entertainment. She criticized ageism, sexism, racism, and the pressure placed on women to stay forever young to remain valuable in Hollywood. as she got older, she became even more vocal about how quickly the industry pushes women aside once they stop fitting a marketable image. And unlike many celebrities who avoid confrontation, Rosie regularly challenged powerful figures directly.
A lot of multiple Grammy nominees this year. Lauryn Hill's got 4, TLC's got 8, and Sean Combs 5 to 10.
One of her most famous stories involved standing up to Harvey Weinstein during a heated meeting years before his public downfall. According to Rosie, Weinstein reacted aggressively when she defended creative decisions he disliked. Again, just like with Katt Williams, people later revisited those stories differently after Weinstein's scandals became public. Even Ellen's current lifestyle reflects this massive cultural shift. After the collapse of her public image, Ellen slowly stepped away from Hollywood life. She moved to England with Portia de Rossi, adopted a quieter lifestyle, and started presenting herself in a much more relaxed and natural way. Gone was the polished daytime television image. Now fans debate whether her transformation is genuine growth or simply damage control. That skepticism says a lot about today's culture. Audiences trust celebrity branding far less than they used to. In the 90s and early 2000s, most fans accepted celebrity images at face value. Stars were presented as aspirational figures. What you saw on television was often accepted as truth. Today, people assume there is always another story underneath. And maybe that is why Katt Williams resonates with so many people now. He speaks directly to public distrust. He taps into the growing belief that fame is carefully manufactured, that Hollywood hides ugly truths behind polished smiles, and that audiences have been manipulated for years. Whether every claim he makes is true almost becomes secondary. Because to many fans, Katt represents something bigger than comedy now. He represents rebellion against carefully controlled celebrity culture, a man willing to risk friendships, business relationships, and public backlash just to say what he believes. And in an entertainment industry built on image management, that kind of unpredictability makes him impossible to ignore. But the internet did not stop with just replaying old interviews. It went even further. Soon, social media users started connecting names that, on the surface, did not even seem related. Somehow, people began tying together Katt Williams, Rosie O'Donnell, and Ellen DeGeneres into one giant conversation about what many online now call the collapse of Hollywood's fake image. And once those conversations started, they spread everywhere. On TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, Instagram, and X, viral threads began painting all three celebrities as characters in the same larger story, but symbols of different sides of the entertainment industry itself. In these viral discussions, Katt Williams became the fearless whistleblower, the man who warned audiences about fake industry systems, hidden alliances, and carefully manufactured fame. Rosie O'Donnell became the wounded insider. The veteran who supposedly saw Hollywood's ugliness firsthand eventually got pushed aside after refusing to fully play along, and Ellen DeGeneres became the symbol of the polished public persona that many people now believe Hollywood loves to protect, smiling on camera while something completely different allegedly happens behind the scenes. Whether those internet theories are fair or not, they exploded online because they fit into a much bigger cultural mood. People no longer trust celebrity images the way they once did.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told.
And Katt Williams's interviews gave internet detectives a whole new language to describe that distrust. Suddenly, phrases like industry plant, gatekeeper, Hollywood puppet, and manufactured fame became part of everyday online conversations. One major theory that gained traction after Katt's viral interview involved the idea that some celebrities are chosen by the industry, while others are quietly pushed out. Fans started comparing Rosie O'Donnell and Ellen DeGeneres through that lens. According to many viral threads, Rosie represented the kind of celebrity Hollywood eventually grew uncomfortable with because she was loud, emotional, opinionated, and difficult to fully control. She openly challenged powerful people, spoke impulsively, and often refused to maintain the polished image expected from daytime television stars. Ellen, on the other hand, was viewed by these online commentators as the safe version, more polished, more carefully managed, more marketable. For years, Ellen's friendly daytime image made her one of the most protected and beloved figures in entertainment. And because of that, internet commentators started using Katt Williams' language to frame Ellen as the perfect example of what Hollywood rewards, not necessarily authenticity, but likability, control, safety. The theory became even bigger when people revisited Rosie's old stories about Ellen.
I wasn't aware of that, but
not in the way that Ellen's talking about, I think. But you know, I said the day it came out, look at this, the Queen of Nice. In a couple of years, it's going to be the Queen of Lice, the Queen of Fried Rice. You know, the Queen of we don't like her anymore. I have an understanding of the cycle of show business and kind of what happens in people's careers and when enough is enough. And oftentimes people don't know that. I think I have a good balance of both.
For over 20 years, Rosie openly admitted she was hurt by how Ellen publicly distanced herself from her. One moment in particular kept resurfacing online. Ellen once claimed they were not actually friends, despite Rosie believing they had a genuine relationship. To outsiders, that may sound small, but on the internet, it became symbolic. People started treating the story as proof of the fake friendliness and clique behavior Katt Williams constantly talks about. According to viral commentary, Rosie represented someone who believed relationships in Hollywood were real, while Ellen represented someone who understood Hollywood as a strategy first and friendship second. Again, these are internet interpretations, not proven facts. But that distinction often disappears online once a narrative catches fire. And once people began connecting those dots, the theories only became more dramatic. By 2026, dozens of viral videos and TikTok breakdowns appeared, with titles suggesting that Rosie O'Donnell and Kathy Griffin were secretly teaming up to expose Ellen DeGeneres and other powerful Hollywood figures. Some videos framed it like a coming celebrity reckoning. Others treated it almost like a hidden war inside the entertainment industry. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the darker corners of social media, where some creators started connecting Katt Williams' warnings about dark Hollywood to conspiracy theories involving Ellen DeGeneres. And once audiences begin distrusting celebrity culture as a whole, even weak theories can suddenly feel believable to people already convinced that Hollywood hides secrets. That is part of what makes this current era of celebrity culture so different from the past. Years ago, scandals usually ended careers because audiences lost trust completely. Today, mistrust itself has become entertainment. People spend hours online investigating celebrities like detectives. Figures like Katt Williams thrive in that environment because his style naturally feeds curiosity. He rarely speaks like someone giving polished corporate answers. He talks in riddles, warnings, stories, and bold accusations. That creates mystery, and mystery creates replay value. Fans go back searching for clues they may have missed the first time. That is why Katt's influence became much bigger than comedy. He accidentally became part of internet conspiracy culture, whether he intended to or not. To supporters, he sounds brave. To critics, he sounds reckless. But either way, people keep listening. Meanwhile, Rosie O'Donnell's story continues to resonate because many people now see her as someone who experienced Hollywood's emotional coldness firsthand. In viral discussions, Rosie is often portrayed as the proof behind Katt Williams' warnings. Fans point to her broken friendships, public clashes, and difficult career moments as evidence that Hollywood quickly turns on people once they stop being useful or easy to manage. Right now, audiences are interpreting Hollywood through a lens of skepticism, distrust, and hidden motives more than ever before.
You can do shit today that was only available on the Jetsons.
One reason this entire conversation has become so complicated is that comedians do not speak like politicians or news reporters. They exaggerate. That is part of the job. A comedian's goal is often to shock people, make them uncomfortable, push boundaries, or turn painful truths into something funny. Sometimes they say things they fully believe. Other times they stretch stories for dramatic effect because bigger reactions create bigger laughs. And that raises an important question. Where exactly is the line between a joke and a real warning? That question follows Katt Williams everywhere now. When Katt talks about Hollywood gatekeepers, secret industry behavior, or celebrities being chosen, some audiences hear comedy mixed with exaggeration. Others hear someone secretly exposing the truth. And honestly, that line has become harder for people to recognize in modern celebrity culture. Because over the last few years, audiences have watched too many shocking stories turn out to be partially true. Powerful celebrities once treated as untouchable eventually faced public scandals. Old interviews that seemed harmless suddenly looked darker after new information came out. Comments people dismissed as jokes sometimes appeared more serious later on. So now, many fans watch comedians differently, especially comedians known for speaking boldly. Instead of hearing only punchlines, audiences start searching for hidden meanings underneath the humor. That is why comedy clips now spread online almost like investigative documentaries. People analyze every sentence, every pause, every nervous laugh, every side eye. And comedians like Katt Williams become especially fascinating because they mix humor with confidence. He speaks in a way that sounds intentional, almost like he knows more than he is fully saying. That creates mystery. But there is also danger in that kind of internet culture, because not every joke is a revelation. Not every strange comment is proof of a conspiracy. And not every celebrity conflict points to some giant hidden Hollywood operation. Sometimes comedians are simply being provocative because provocative people get attention. Sometimes stories grow online because audiences enjoy mystery more than boring explanations. And sometimes the internet connects dots that were never truly connected in the first place. A comedian may exaggerate a story for dramatic effect, but online audiences might repost it as literal truth. A sarcastic comment can become a viral conspiracy within hours. And once millions of people believe a narrative emotionally, facts often become less important than the feeling the story creates. That is one reason celebrity culture feels so chaotic today. People are no longer just consuming entertainment. They are investigating it, trying to decode it, trying to separate performance from reality. And honestly, even celebrities themselves sometimes blur that line. Many stars carefully create public personas that are different from who they really are in private. So when audiences eventually discover contradictions, it fuels even more suspicion. That is exactly what happened with Ellen DeGeneres.
And it says "Be kind" on the front right there. And so we start out, okay, so because people always say...
After years of promoting kindness and positivity, the workplace allegations against her caused audiences to go back and reinterpret old jokes and interviews differently. Suddenly, comments that once sounded playful started sounding mean. Moments that once felt funny started feeling uncomfortable. People began asking themselves, were the signs always there? Or are audiences simply rewriting the past based on what they know now? That question matters, because hindsight can sometimes create patterns that were invisible before, but it can also create false patterns that people only imagine after the fact. The same thing happens with celebrity friendships and feuds. Once the public decides someone is fake, every old interaction suddenly gets viewed through that lens. A smile looks forced, a compliment sounds manipulative, a disagreement becomes proof of betrayal. And social media rewards that kind of thinking because dramatic narratives spread faster than balanced ones. The truth is, comedians like Katt Williams often operate in a gray area between entertainment, personal opinion, storytelling, and social commentary. That gray area is part of why people find them powerful. Because comedy has always contained exaggeration. Richard Pryor exaggerated. Dave Chappelle exaggerates. Chris Rock exaggerates. That does not automatically make them liars. It simply means comedy often uses amplification to expose emotions, hypocrisy, or uncomfortable truths more entertainingly. The challenge today is that the internet often removes nuance completely. Everything becomes either 100% truth or 100% fake. There is very little middle ground anymore. But reality usually lives in the middle. Some celebrity stories contain real warning signs. Some industry criticisms are probably valid. Some public personas really are carefully manufactured. But at the same time, internet speculation can also spiral too far and turn normal human behavior into giant conspiracy theories. That balance is important. While audiences should absolutely question celebrity branding and media narratives, constantly assuming every joke hides a secret truth can become unhealthy too. At some point, entertainment stops being entertainment and starts becoming an obsession. And that is the strange world modern Hollywood now exists in. A world where comedians are treated like whistleblowers, fans act like detectives, and every old interview is one viral clip away from being turned into evidence by the internet.
Top 25, but to the people that like me, there's nothing like me.
One reason Katt Williams keeps becoming viral every few months is that people never fully know what he is going to say next. That unpredictability keeps audiences interested. Katt speaks with confidence, emotion, and mystery at the same time. Even people who disagree with him still watch because they feel like anything can happen during his interviews. One moment he is joking, the next moment he is exposing celebrity feuds, criticizing Hollywood politics, or making claims that send social media into chaos. And in today's internet culture, bold personalities spread fast, especially when they challenge powerful people. Every time an old Katt Williams clip resurfaces, audiences treat it almost like a prophecy being revisited. Fans start saying things like, "He warned us," or "Katt was right all along." Whether that is fully true or not, the mystery around him keeps his name alive online. Ellen DeGeneres controversies created a completely different kind of fascination. For years, Ellen represented kindness, positivity, and safety in Hollywood. That image was so strong that when toxic workplace allegations came out, many people felt genuinely shocked. The story became bigger than celebrity gossip because it challenged the public's trust in carefully created media personalities. Even today, people still debate Ellen constantly. Some believe she was unfairly canceled. Others believe the allegations exposed who she truly was behind the scenes. And because her public image changed so dramatically, audiences continue revisiting old interviews and moments from her talk show looking for signs they may have missed before. That is why the conversation around Ellen never fully disappears. Her story represents a bigger fear people now have about celebrity culture, the fear that famous personalities may not be who they pretend to be. Meanwhile, Rosie O'Donnell continues reappearing in pop culture conversations because she has always been outspoken and emotionally direct. Rosie does not speak like someone carefully protecting a Hollywood image. She talks openly about hurt feelings, broken friendships, industry hypocrisy, politics, and personal disappointment. Because of that, people often pull her back into public debates whenever Hollywood drama starts trending again. Her past conflicts with Ellen, her criticism of the entertainment industry, and her willingness to speak emotionally make her feel relatable to many audiences. Strangely, Rosie represents the celebrity who never fully learned how to become corporate enough for Hollywood, and people find that honesty interesting. But the bigger question is this: why are audiences so obsessed with behind-the-scenes Hollywood drama in the first place? Part of it is simple curiosity. Celebrities spend years presenting perfect images to the public. Fans naturally become fascinated when cracks begin to show underneath that perfection. People want to know what famous actors, comedians, and television stars are really like once the cameras stop rolling. But it goes deeper than gossip. Modern audiences no longer trust celebrity branding the way previous generations did. Social media exposed how carefully managed fame really is. Publicists shape interviews, studios protect reputations, influencers filter their lives. Even apologies sometimes feel scripted. So audiences keep searching for the real story. That is why behind-the-scenes drama spreads so quickly online. People feel like they are uncovering a hidden truth instead of just consuming entertainment. And honestly, Hollywood itself helped create that obsession. The industry spent decades selling fantasy, perfection, and carefully controlled images. Now the internet constantly tries to tear those images apart, looking for what is hidden underneath. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update.